Iceland sits on the rift between two tectonic plates, and along this rift, one can find mud pots and fumaroles where volcanic gases and steam from water which has contacted hot rock underneath the surface is now escaping. You might look at these scenes and think, oh, what a horrible place to live. It looks inhospitable. If you could be there, you would notice that it smells what we would think as smells badly because there's hydrogen sulfide and methane and ammonia. To be quite honest, myself, being a biologist, I was fascinated to be there. But by the end, I was actually feeling tightness in my chest and having a little trouble breathing and was actually glad to leave. And so you might think, what a horrible place to live. But you might be surprised to find that there are things that live here. There are microbes, bacteria, plenty of viruses, and also some eukaryotic cells that not only can tolerate hot, acidic, and what would otherwise be to us toxic environments, but they need these environments to thrive. There are actually microbes which are called thermophiles and hyperthermophiles. They actually require high temperatures. There are acidophiles which require acid. There are microbes which require high pressures. And so when you go to these areas, you find an interesting group of living things which actually live in inhospitable environments. In the bacteria, you can find extremophiles both in the eubacteria group and the archaea group. Often we don't understand these microbes all that well. As you might imagine, it is hard to cultivate them in a laboratory if they prefer conditions like these. One other reason to be interested in them is that the early Earth probably had many of the same conditions that you see here. It was far hotter with its early volcanic activity. It would have been more acidic in many regions. There was no oxygen in the atmosphere. So instead of carbon dioxide, nitrates, and sulfates, one would have had more methane, ammonia, and hydrogen sulfide. In addition, as geneticists group organisms into the tree of life, forming all of the branches as life's family tree, all of the earliest branches, the most primitive, most basal branches, are of these hyperthermophilic bacteria. And so it seems that the earliest life living in the early Earth preferred extreme environments such as the one, and thus a scene such as this, especially one which would have occurred underwater in the ocean, approximates how we think early life lived in the early Earth.